Good afternoon. Good afternoon, children.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
We will complete the second chapter, sexual reproduction in flowering plants today. We just started with apomixis and a few more points to be discussed. What is apomixis? Sharon, what is apomixis? With the bindi,
It
you're
is
looking cute, Sharon. Yes. When you got the compliment, you forgot to unmute. Unmute.
It is the production of seeds without fertilization.
Yes. How is it different from parthenocarpy?
It produces the fruit without fertilization.
Good, good. So we'll continue. It's a production of seeds without fertilization, and some species of Asteraceae and grasses, they exhibit apomixis. So in nature itself, they carry out apomixis, and there the seeds will be formed without fertilization. The diploid egg cell. So they form normally, as I told you last class, egg cell. The female gamete, it is normal cases, it is formed by meiotic division, it will be haploid. But in plants where apomixis takes place, they produce diploid egg cell, which will directly develop into seeds, and there is no need for fertilization here. And it's a form of asexual reproduction. So it is same as asexual reproduction. It is similar to asexual reproduction, and there are no variations or limited variations, because here there is no mixing up of characters, because it is the seeds are formed from the single parent. So there is no fusion of gametes. So the limitation or the drawback is that no variations or limited variations. So it is not playing an important role in evolution or formation of a new species. This mimics sexual reproduction. Why we call as why we say that it is mimicking or imitating sexual reproduction? Normally seeds are formed by sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, different methods we have learned, but so far we haven't learned that from the seeds or using seeds, a sexual reproduction can take place. So that is why you call it as you say that it is mimicking or imitating sexual reproduction, because your seeds are formed just like sexual reproduction. Seeds are being formed, but at the same time it is not uh, sexual but asexual reproduction, as there is no fusion of gametes. And in some species, the diploid egg cell is formed without, that is what I said, no meiotic division is normally, a meiotic division should take place and the gametes are formed. We have learned in the reproductive cells, the gametes will be formed by reduction division or meiotic division, where the chromosome number will be half, and then the normal chromosome number will be restored in the zygote when it fuses with the male gamete. But when apomixis is taking place, the diploid egg cell is formed without any reduction division. It directly develops into the embryo without any fertilization. That is apomixis. Clear? Now, moving on to the next slide. In many species, for example, citrus and in certain varieties of mango, some of the nucellar cells, hope you know what is nucellar cells. Where do you find nucellar cells? Nucellus.
Within the integument.
Louder.
Within the integument.
Integument. And what is its role? One of the cells there in the nucellus will
Differentiate from megaspore.
megaspore mother cell, which undergoes reduction division, forming megaspores, and 3 will degenerate and 1 will form the female gametophyte or embryo sac. And in certain species, this is also a sort of apomixis. Polyembryony is also coming under apomixis. In many species like citrus and mango, some of the nucellar, not one, some of the nucellar cells. So normally we have learned that one of the cells in the nucellus will modify, will undergo differentiation and forms megaspore mother cell. But here, some of the nucellar cells, not one, some of them will protrude into the embryo sac. So these nucellar cells are present surrounding the embryo sac. They will undergo division and they will protrude into the embryo sac. As you can see in the picture, they are protruding into the embryo sac and they form several embryos. Instead of one, they form several embryos will be formed. And in such a case, you call it as polyembryony. So within each ovule, you can find many embryos being formed. So such a condition is known as polyembryony. Occurrence of more than one embryo in a seed. Normally, we have seen a single embryo in a single seed. But sometimes more than one seeds can be found in the same seed. Then you call it as several polyembryony, several embryos inside the seed. And what results in polyembryony? In certain species, as we said, citrus and mango, some of the normal conditions, you know that one of the cells present in nucellus will undergo differentiation and forms megaspore mother cell. This megaspore mother cell undergoes reduction division and forms four haploid spores, and three of them will degenerate and one becomes a female gametophyte or embryo sac. But here many nucellar cells, not one, many of them which are present outside the embryo sac will divide and they will protrude into the embryo after the formation of embryo sac. Embryo sac is formed and after that, from the nucellus, some of the cells will divide and they will protrude into the embryo sac or the female gametophyte and transform into embryos. In such case, there'll be many embryos within the ovule. So such a condition is known as polyembryony. And now, next what we are going to see is about the significance of apomixis. Already we learned, yes,
In polyembryony, the embryos are not formed with fertilization.
there also it takes place without fertilization. Okay, the cells undergo division, they protrude and transform into embryos.
Okay.
And significance of apomixis in hybrid seed industry. You know, hybrid seeds. Why do you cultivate, or what is the necessity of this hybrid seeds? Huh? How are hybrid seeds formed? Hybrid variety means what? We are combining two plants with the desirable qualities. Already I've told you, a plant might be having disease resistance, but it may not be having a better yielding. And another one has got high yielding and no disease resistance. So we combine these two and make it into a hybrid. We crossbreed and combine the characters, the desirable characters of these two. And you try to get, or by crossbreeding, you try to develop a plant which combine the desirable qualities, both high yielding and disease resistance. So such varieties we artificially generate by hybridization, crossbreeding. So those are hybrid varieties. And hybrid varieties, they'll be having all the desirable qualities which the farmer wants, or the one who is carrying out the process, those factors or those characteristics he desired to have, that will be present in the hybrid varieties. And hybrid varieties are used for getting better or high yielding, and high yielding is definitely an important feature of hybrid varieties. And if you use hybrid varieties, you will get better yield, better qualities when compared to the other varieties which are not produced as a result of hybridization. So hybrid varieties are extensively cultivated. They have tremendously increased productivity. In class 10 also you might have learned about high yielding varieties of cereal crops which resulted in green revolution and all. You might have learned about it. So high yielding, where they are high yielding and they combine many desirable qualities. and the different qualities also, different features for which we carry out crop improvement also we have learned. Uniform maturity. Hope you are remembering change in maturity duration. Under that, you learned about uniform maturity, better yield, then better quality, better disease resistance, wider adaptability. So hybrid varieties are produced for combining all the desirable qualities, and that had increased the productivity. But there is one disadvantage for this hybrid. First of all, it is very expensive to produce hybrid varieties. And the disadvantage is that hybrid seeds have to be produced every year. Why? Can anybody tell me what is the reason? Why hybrid seeds have to be produced every year? Suppose we have cultivated a hybrid variety in the field. Can't we collect the seeds from there and raise the next uh, season? Can we raise it in the next season? Will those seeds have all the qualities of their parents? Huh? As I told you, hybrid varieties are produced by combining, by cross breeding the plants with all the desired characteristics. But once they grow, their seeds are formed again by cross pollination. That may not be the desirable ones. It is not carried out under laboratory or under artificial condition. These plants are being grown in the field. So there, when these hybrid seeds are formed, when these hybrid varieties form seeds, some of the plants might have all the desirable qualities, some may not have. So that is purely matter of chance. But we cannot assure that all the seeds produced by these hybrid varieties will combine all the desirable qualities that we want, just like in the parents. Are you getting the point, children? Are you understanding what I
Yes,
mean to
ma'am.
say? See, I'll repeat once again. Hybrid cross breeding is an expensive process, as I said. Here we need two parents with the desirable qualities, and we do emasculation and all. We learned, no, emasculation, then bagging, tagging, all that we learned. So by carrying out these different cross pollination methods, we are raising hybrid varieties. We collect the seeds and we provide it to the farmers, and they cultivate it. But upon cultivating, they'll get better yield also. But the seeds formed by those plants which the farmer has grown in the field may not have the characters of their parent, because their fertilization is taking place. It may not, these plants produce may or may not have the characteristics of their parents, because when these plants are being grown, how are their seeds formed? By the fusion of, first of all, the male fertilization, pollination, fertilization should take place. And you have learned that at the time of gamete formation, the characters can get segregated. All the desirable characters will not remain together. So the recessive characters can get expressed, dominant character, you know, all that. We have learned about Mendel's laws of inheritance. So there can be segregation of characters at the time of gamete formation, and the seeds formed by these hybrid varieties may not have all the desired characters. So what is the solution? Every time hybrid seeds need to be produced. Every season or every time the farmer is going to cultivate, new hybrid seeds need to be produced. That is very, very expensive, because there the gamete formation is taking place, and during gamete formation the characters can segregate, and the seeds formed may or may not have all the desired characters. Apomixis gives us a solution for this problem. You know, apomixis is a method of asexual reproduction. So what is done is, if the gene for apomixis can be introduced into these hybrid varieties, then this problem can be solved. So there won't be any fertilization. Apomixis will be carried out, and all the features in the hybrid variety will be passed on to the seeds. I don't know whether you have followed. I'll repeat it. Production of hybrid seeds is very costly and can be expensive for the farmers. If the hybrids are made into apomix, then there is no segregation of characters. So they will retain all the characters of their parents, and the farmers can keep on using these seeds year after year. They don't have to form new seeds every year, which is very expensive. Have you got the point, children? You want me to explain it again?
Yes, ma'am.
Apomixis part.
You know, apomixis is a formation of seeds without fertilization. Hmm? You say that it is imitating sexual reproduction because your seed formation is taking place, but that is not by fertilization. Since seed formation is taking place, we are saying it is mimicking sexual reproduction, but that seed formation is not taking place by the fusion of gametes. It is just by the formation of a diploid egg cell, and that is directly developing into the embryo. And apomixis takes place naturally in some varieties, as we said in the case of grass, Asteraceae, different varieties of Asteraceae. It is taking place naturally. Okay, got it? Are you following?
Yes,
Till
ma'am.
here you have understood. And then we discussed about hybrid seeds. Hybrid seeds are produced by crossbreeding. Pollen grains from one flower where the desired characters we select one male and female parent as the with the desired characters. Pollen from one will be dusted on the stigma of the female parent. Then we wait for the production of seeds, and those seeds are collected, and that might combine the desired characters of both the parents, isn't it? That is how we get a new hybrid variety with all the desirable qualities. So we got seeds. It is provided to the farmers. Farmers will cultivate it in the field and they will get good yield because the plant is having all the desired features which you wanted. High yielding, disease resistance, and productivity is increased. Farmer is getting profit. All that is fine. But the seed, when they form seeds, how is seeds formed? How are seeds formed? By how are seeds formed? Which method? We are not
Fertilization.
discussing about apomixes. Keep apomixes aside. I'm telling only about hybrid varieties. By
Fertilization.
fertilization. Pollen grains fall on it. It's not any, no carefully controlled conditions. Purely matter of chance. Pollen grains can fall on it. And these pollen grains are formed inside the flower. And inside the pollen grains, what is there, children?
Male.
Huh? Male gamete. Two male gametes are there. Similarly, within the ovule, egg cell is there. When these gametes are formed, okay, hybrid variety, when the gametes are formed, reduction division is taking place, and when gametes are formed, the characters can get segregated. Okay, and in all the gametes, all the desirable characters or genes may not go. It's purely matter of chance. So when gametes are being formed, the characters, the features, the genes will segregate. And then it is matter of chance with which egg cell, which male gamete is fusing. So in the seeds which these hybrid plants are forming, they may not have all the characters of the parent. It's sexual reproduction. So it's matter of chance. If it was asexual reproduction, definitely we can be sure that all the features of the parent will be there in the uh, young ones produced from that. But here it is not like that. Definitely the hybrid seeds given to the farmer was prepared under artificial condition. So it will be having all the desired qualities. Using that, farmer raised plants. That plant will be having all the desired qualities. Disease resistant, let it be disease resistant, high yielding, whatever it is. But the seeds formed by that plants, we cannot assure that the seeds formed by these hybrid varieties also will have all the characters, because that is after gamete formation. Then these gamete is fusing. That is matter of chance. It may or may not combine the desired characters of their parents. Are you getting it? So every year they have to prepare hybrid seeds under artificial condition, selecting pollen, dusting it on selected stigma. So that is very expensive. And the solution for this is, once these hybrid varieties of plants are made, introducing the apomictic genes into them. So they will follow, they'll carry out After the formation of the hybrid variety, further, after introducing this apomictic gene, these hybrid varieties will not follow sexual reproduction, but they will carry out apomixis. Seed formation will take place by means of apomixis. So there is no fusion of gametes. So all the seeds formed will be having all the features of the parent. They'll be exactly identical to the parent with minor variation, but major characters will remain same. So every year the farmer can collect the seeds, raise the next generation. From the next generation, he can collect the seeds and go for the next season. Cultivating the plants will go on like that. Did you understand? I don't mind repeating it. You tell me which point you have not followed, I'll repeat it again. Have you understood? For
Yes,
that
ma'am.
also no answer. Children, don't make me repeat that. Please turn the videos on. It's taken very seriously. I don't want you to get into trouble. All briefings were done. Still, you have understood. Tell me frankly, I don't mind repeating it again. Hmm? Hope you have followed. And still, if you have any doubts, you can ask me now or you can message me. Okay. So with that, we have completed the chapter sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Now we are going to begin with the new chapter. So as I told you, next class you will have oral test. Don't come prepared. You can be prepared for written test also, no problem. I don't think I'll ask only objective questions. It can be 1 mark, 2 mark, essay also I can ask. Okay. Any type of question. You prepare as if you're preparing for a written test, but you're performing it, going to say the answers orally. Because written test, I feel it is not that reliable. You people are very honest and sincere, but maybe my problem, I am not getting that satisfaction when I carry out written test. So once I finish oral test, and if you're responding, immediate response is also there, and I can correct you then and there. Agreed? Come prepared. Anything to say? Anything to say? No. You're ready. Next class. Full chapter. Read each and every line. I will ask from in between the lines. So be thorough with the textbook. You can, when you're revising, you can revise with the help of notes. Today itself, I will send the notes. Why nobody reminded me? I'll send the notes today itself. Okay. So we are going to start with the next chapter. Next chapter is about human reproduction. Already in 10th, briefly you have learned. Not in detail, but 8th standard, 10th standard, briefly you have learned about human reproductive system. And in this chapter, you will be learning in detail about male and female reproductive system, fertilization, and all the associated steps you will be learning. So we'll begin with the chapter human reproduction. So first of all, you tell me, what is the
Ma'am.
definition for, yes? Yes.
One,
Okay, children. So reproduction. Who is going to define what is meant by reproduction? Evelyn, how can you define reproduction?
It is the process by which male and female parents will be giving rise to
It is a
new
process by
generation.
which living things produce their young ones or give rise to their young ones. Some of them lay eggs, some of them give birth. And human beings, as you know, they are sexually reproducing organisms and they are viviparous. What do you mean by viviparous? Donna, what do you mean by viviparous? Class 8.
I don't know, ma'am.
Class 9. Nandana? Unmute?
Viviparous is fertilization within.
No,
Oviparous forms the egg outside.
no. That is external and internal fertilization. Who can tell? Oh, such a silly
Give birth to young
question.
ones.
I thought you all will know the. Yes, Punya?
They give birth to young ones. Not
Viviparous
laying
give
eggs.
birth. Now, Nandana can say what are oviparous. Ova, oviparous. She said viviparous means giving birth. Then what are oviparous animals? Ova means what, Nandana?
Egg, ma'am, hatch into
Egg.
eggs.
So those organisms which lay eggs are known as oviparous, and those which give birth are known as viviparous. Next, we are going to begin with chapter 3, that is human reproduction. Reproduction, as we already discussed, it's a process by which living things produce their young ones. It's a production of young ones by living organisms. Either they can give birth or lay eggs. So when they give birth, you call such organisms as viviparous animals. And when they lay eggs, you call them as oviparous. No need of any confusion. Remember the term ova. Ova means eggs. So oviparous animals will lay eggs, and viviparous, they give birth to their young ones. Human beings, they are sexually reproducing and they are viviparous, and it is at the onset of puberty that the reproductive phase in human beings starts. In human beings, there are different stages or different phases in the reproductive phase. It starts with gametogenesis. So the reproductive phase in human beings begin at the onset of puberty, and there are different phases in that, and it starts with gametogenesis. Can you tell me what is meant by gametogenesis?
Formation of
Genesis
of
means
gamete.
what, children?
production. Formation.
Formation. So what is gametogenesis?
Formation of gametes.
Formation of gametes. So if sexual reproduction has to take place, gametes should be formed. Sperms and ova should be formed. Oogenesis and spermatogenesis. So about that, you will be learning later in detail. First is gametogenesis. The next one is insemination. Insemination is a process by which sperms are transferred into the female reproductive tract to facilitate fertilization. And the third step is fertilization. Gametes are formed, gametes are transferred, and they fuse and result in fertilization. Now, next is implantation. What is meant by implantation, children? What is implantation? Anybody? Where does implantation? Oh, yes.
The zygote is transferred to the uterus.
Zygote is transferred to?
The uterus, laid in the uterus.
Not clear, Nandana. Can you
The
speak again?
zygote is transferred to the uterus.
And they get
The womb.
implanted on the uterine wall. Zygote undergoes division and forms embryo. This embryo will get attached to the uterine wall for further development. So that is known as the method or the process by which it gets attached to the uterine wall. You call it as implantation. And next comes gestation. What is gestation? Huh?
Development of the fetus inside the womb.
From when to when? From conception till delivery. So that period of time during which the embryo, first it will be zygote, zygote develops into embryo, embryo transforms into fetus. So for the time of or the fetal development or the development of the embryo from conception till delivery, that is known as gestation. And once gestation period is completed, the mother will deliver the baby, and the childbirth or the delivery of the baby as well as the placenta, you call it as parturition. Okay, so I'll sum up the points once again. We started with the definition for reproduction. So reproduction, as I told you, it's a process by which living things produce their young ones. And the chapter is about human reproduction. Human beings are sexually reproducing and they are viviparous. And it is at the onset of puberty that the reproductive phase in human beings starts, and then it has got different stages. Different phases are there. Under the reproductive phase, you can find so many stages. It starts with gametogenesis, where the gametes are formed, sperms and ova are formed. Then insemination, the process by means of which the sperms are transferred into the female genital or reproductive tract. Then the fusion of male and female gametes to form a zygote is known as fertilization. And now what is next? Once fertilization has taken place, then the gestation period, the development of the fetus inside the uterus from the time of conception till birth, fetal development or the development of fetus from conception till birth, you call it as gestation. Or implantation, I missed out. Implantation is the attachment of the embryo to the uterine wall for further development. And once the gestation period is completed, childbirth takes place. The mother delivers the baby and also the placenta, and that is known as parturition. So about each of these stages, you will be learning in detail. Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Some of you have turned your videos off. I want to save the ink, just like you people save energy. I want to save my energy too. Rijas, Evelyn, Vidur. Now we'll start with the reproductive system in males and females, human male reproductive system and female reproductive system. We'll be beginning with the male reproductive system. The male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes. Testis is singular and this is singular and testis, ES is plural. This is plural and this one is singular. A pair of testes, accessory ducts, accessory glands, and external genitalia. All these together form the male reproductive system in human beings. Once again, paired testes, accessory ducts, accessory glands, and also external genitalia. And these together make up male reproductive system. We'll begin with the first one, paired testes. A pair of testes are present and a pair of testes is present and these are the primary sex organs. And you know, testes perform dual function. What is the dual function performed by testes? It has got exocrine and endocrine functions. Who can tell me the endocrine and exocrine function of testes? You have learned class 10, class 8. Yes. Anna, Naureen, Michael, Michael, Michael Jacob. If there is any issue, leave me a message. Michael, from the time you have joined, I've neither seen your video nor I have heard your audio. Don't force me to enter your names. I told you in the beginning, just like you save your energy, I too want to save the energy. Michael, are you there? Okay. Who is going to tell me the dual function? Whatever you have learned in a particular class, you should not leave it there. Yes, Punya? You were saying something, no, Punya?
Produces sperm.
Produces sperms. Then that is its exocrine function. Then endocrine function.
Secondary sex hormones.
It produces hormone. Which hormone? Which hormone it produces? Anybody?
Testosterone.
Testosterone. Testosterone is produced by testes. It produces sperms as well as testosterone. And The testes are placed outside the abdominal cavity in specialized sacs. You call it as scrotal sac, scrotum or scrotal sac. Can anybody tell me why it is placed outside the abdominal cavity and not inside the abdomen or abdominal cavity? What could be the reason? You have learned in 10th. That's why I'm asking this. Yes?
Temperature.
Huh?
For maintaining lower temperature.
I'm not able to hear you. Repeat.
For maintaining lower temperature. than
Yes, yes. So what is your body temperature? So we were discussing about the location of testis. It is placed. Yes,
Can you show the last slide?
I'll repeat it next class. We don't have time. I'll just sum up, and next class, if you want, I'll show the slide again. It's already time. That's why Nia, I'll repeat it again. I'll just sum up the points what I said. Testes are placed outside the abdominal cavity in special sacs, and this is meant to keep the testes at a lower temperature, 2.5 degrees Celsius lower than the body temperature, to facilitate the formation of sperms. So not to worry, we'll be discussing about testes in next class also. I just wanted to wind up the sentence. Okay, we'll be repeating it again, not to worry. Come prepared for the oral test of the first chapter. Okay. Thank you, children. See you next class.
Thank you.